23 minutes before the Nexus explodes. Not even remotely close after that Rift Herald fight just completely blew the game open. So DSG are going to have to bounce back here in the second one.
They absolutely are. I mean, one of the weirdest things to me about that game was it wasn't like they just got giga stomped in every lane and then the game went that way. Usually a 23-minute win means you lost super hard in every lane, in every aspect, right from the word go. It was close till Herald. It was actually a really close game until Herald. It could have gone either way. And then the wheels fell off, and then they decided to just strap some TNT on that thing and take it to Dragon.
Wile E. Coyote style. But but no, I 100% agree. If I remember right at about the time of the Herald being started, the goal lead was 1.3K for C9. It's not even like, oh man, the game is just broken. All right, I see you.
They got punched right in their shiny teeth.
Yeah, that's there you go. Exactly. They're not sparkling anymore. But we've got the Jace, the Pantheon, and the Camille band out here by C9. DSG getting rid of Nocturne, Syndra, and Victor as Vulcan's Bard is locked in. First pick for C9.
Little Bard Caitlyn action, perhaps? Perhaps. As we are looking at Ziggs. Obviously, Camille is banned, so you can't go that route, but it is going to be Ziggs Shen. So much less explosive as far as the aggressive trade that you can actually go for, but Shen obviously is more of a neutralizing champion. You know, you can look for aggressive moves, but it is much more about how you answer the plays on the map. The one thing I will say, when you pick a champion like Shen into someone like Bard, you are generally so behind the plays until level 6. Like, I like playing both these champions a lot. And if the Shen wants to roam with me, great, because you're going to be a lot slower without Magical Journey, without the additional move speed from picking up these shrines. And really all you can do is try to answer plays. And because Bard is pretty low commitment as far as a champion, it's not like you have to like run in there and get taunted, right? Everything's range. So I generally do like the way that feels pretty heavily from the Bard side of the matchup. Ezreal going to be grabbed, which has kind of become the de facto AD carry lately in pro play. It's just, when you talk to any pro players, like, well, it just can lane against every mage, and you're not going to get punished when your support is roaming, and it's kind of just safety incarnate.
Well, you see, when you play mages, you need to hit your buttons more because your right click is garbage. Ezreal also, compared to the rest of AD carries, his right click does less of his job than his buttons
Smelling a little magey.
So yeah, he's kind of like, he's got
He builds a tier, doesn't he, Flowers?
Perhaps mana is a desirable stat on this mage D carry. Yes, sir. So let's see how that Ezreal will play. Oh, we've been waxing philosophical about Mage Ezreal for too long. The forbidden pick has been locked in.
The dog?
No.
And the
the
Ryze.
The Loki Ryze.
The 0-8, 0% win.
Oh. 0-9. He was 0-8 last week.
Oh, I thought he was 0-7.
I believe he was 0-8 last week. He was 0-9 after the C9 Game 1 throw last week.
The important thing, he has never won a Ryze game in his entire career.
It's 0-something. It's either 0-8 or 0-9.
0-8.
Okay, 0-8. You were right. I apologize.
You're predicting into the future here. You're already calling the loss.
Technically, if this Ryze is like last week's Ryze, we are both right, because you're right now and I'm going to be right later. He has... I wanted to make sure that I really praised him for his impeccable Orianna in game number 1. I voted him my player of the game. I think he was awesome on that.
He was.
But his Ryze last weekend was objectively terrible, right? Those Realm Warps solo lost the game. So if nothing else, I just want to see not that, right? Even if you're just using the Realm Warps to like maneuver minions into a better position to fast mode second tower. Yeah, come back from base. Sure, do whatever. Do anything that's not kill Blaber and Thanatos.
Unbind that thing when enemies are on your screen.
Yeah, just get rid of it. You don't need it. It passively powers up your Q. It's still doing a job just by leveling it. So, all right,
the forbidden button.
Yeah, the forbidden button. Like,
just like Voldemort, but an ability.
Yes.
You can't talk about
There's an R in Voldemort, and that part of the name is the most forbidden. That is the most forbidden letter. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, it is going to be a frontline Renekton and Skarner here for the C9 side. So a couple meatball boys to make sure that the Ryze and the Ezreal have the time to do their damage. You already mentioned the dog locked in for KryRa over on the DSG side. Unfortunately, my friend, I believe that Chihuahua is still Chihuahua size after the game number 1 performance.
But will it be after this game here, as Srtty going to be bringing out the Vayne, made his name for himself, getting to the top of solo queue, did that a lot of the time through playing ranged tops, right? And we haven't really got to see him be unleashed on these too many times. Generally, when it is a good situation, they're going to be banning him out. Obviously, last game, Vayne was banned because that is a known counter into Gnar. Has a very, very good matchup in Gnar, but it also has a very good matchup into Renekton. So this is going to be interesting to see how Srtty can actually do, if KryRa can play towards him and enable him, because of course, when you're looking, there are tools that C9 have to get up there and attack the Vayne, right? Vayne versus Renekton isolation, you should pretty much never lose that matchup, but the problem comes when all of a sudden Realm Warp comes in, yep, the forbidden ability, and then, you know, the Scorpion's coming over the wall, Realm, you know, you have Bard coming in and hitting you with Tempered Fate, like all of these extra tools to attack you, because you have to kind of play in your opponent's base, and you're not playing Cleanse, he is playing Exhaust, so Flash Stun from the Renekton, +1 usually means you're kind of dead. And
I feel like you kind of have to attack this guy with multiple people at once, because for both, you already mentioned it with the Renekton, but also for Skarner, if Vayne is sober and has not used E on someone else, Skarner doesn't touch Vayne, right? Like, that's just not going to happen. So I feel like if they're going to do anything to Srtty, they've got to do it with multiple points of pressure. We'll see how much they want to focus on him. Obviously, the bottom lane, with it being that Ziggs versus Ezreal, is a lot of spam abilities clear the waves, so that shouldn't draw as much attention as it might have in game number 1 with the Lucian and Melio combination. And of course, with both of our mid laners having those big macro impacting ultimates with the Weaver's Wall and the Realm Warp, we'll see how effectively, I should say, both sides can use their mid laners to make plays in the side lanes.
And that is a very nice start there from Srtty. Thanatos tried to sneak into that brush to be in range to soak XP and loses about 200 health for his trouble as he gets found there by Srtty. These side lane wards are actually so important in these range versus melee matchups, because if you do not have the brush warded, he just pops in and out over and over, and Vulcan going to see if he can find a steal. There is no smite, so he has a chance.
Yep, the Dark and Dagger bleed, getting the blue down to 200 HP. KryRa does not want to have this fully reset. Oh, but it is going to reset at least partially. So even if Vulcan doesn't get to steal it away, he does slow KryRa down. Now Lyonz is ready to answer, finds a taunt onto Vulcan as the Bard makes his exit from the enemy jungle, but it's level 1 Shen. It's not like there's any real kill threat or anything there.
Yeah, no one else was moving, so it's kind of a who cares. So not only do you spot KryRa, you slow him down a bit there, and you put Blaber in a position where Blaber just wants to power farm to 6 mostly, unless there's some really good gank, opportunity that is opened up. So the tank jungler is going to be accelerated a bit. He's going to be about 1 camp ahead of the pace of where KryRa is, thanks to that play there from Vulcan. And for Thanatos, a lot of these range versus melee matchups is about how much do you give versus how much do you try to farm, because it is very, very difficult. You cannot farm everything, and Blaber is going to walk through mid.
Yeah, and that means that Callme is forced to use his flash in trade for Loki's Ghost, so Summoner Spell trade up for the C9 side.
Yeah, and Blaber just does 3 camp and then goes through mid towards bot, so it's not like he's wasting a lot of time here, and now Vulcan's coming back, so they are being pretty annoying. Just drops a couple of those health shrines. When those are fully charged, it is 100 HP that he's getting, so it's not a full health potion, but it is basically 1 refillable pot charge. Is quite nice there. And remember, home grounds here is going to be hosted by Lion in Mexico City. It is week 6, and we're going to have some really good matchups. The 4 teams that are going, C9, Lion, TL, and Shopify, we are going to get the Lion versus TL matchup that I think everyone is really looking forward to. And also in week 5, the other 4 teams will be playing a doubleheader here in LA to accommodate the schedule. But man, I'm really excited for some of those top of the table matchups.
Yeah, it ought to be a great time. It'll definitely shake things up compared to the normal flow of a split here in LCS. So make sure you mark that one on your calendars. Week 5 here in the studio, and then week 6 is our big road show with those 4 teams. So down in bottom lane, Vulcan has returned here. You can see neither one of the supports hitting level 3 here just yet, but Lyonz is very close, and Vulcan is not. So Vulcan will need to soak a little bit of EXP.
Yeah, and Vulcan versus Lyonz, I think, is a really important matchup, because I'm just going to be honest, I do think that Lyonz has really been struggling in his time with DSG.
Yeah.
And Vulcan, I think, is one of the best supports in the league, period. He's been playing really, really well. I think Core and Isles have also been fantastic, but to me, those are kind of the big 3 right now. And it is going to be up to Lyonz to try to match Vulcan on a champion that I think has the edge as far as how he's going to be playing the map, and against a player who is on absolute comfort in that Bard as well. So this is definitely a point of trouble potentially in this game for DSG.
Yeah, Lyonz definitely needs to step up. I feel like anybody that's been watching LCS consistently throughout this year is going to look at him as one of the biggest avenues for potential improvement for Disguised. So going up against somebody like Vulcan, like you're saying, who's been having good games individually, even in the games that C9 as a team is committing some of those unforced errors, some of those blunders. Certainly a tall task here for the DSG.
He wasn't the Realm
support.
Warper.
No, he was not the Warper of Realms, but he's going to be on a magical journey here soon. You can see once again, just wandering through the river. Nothing really super exciting in the first 4 or 5 minutes of gameplay in this one, just like game number 1. So both teams taking it slow out of the gate yet again.
You can see Lyonz is up towards that top side, so I think was maybe predicting that Vulcan would move up there and wanted to be there to try to cover the play. Thanatos took an early base to buy refillable cloth armor, where Srtty has not yet been back to base, so Srtty kind of has to pick his moment to try to crash this wave and actually go back and buy his items, because of course, you know, he is not playing TP, he is playing exhaust, so he needs to actually have prio to be able to, you know, get a base off without losing a lot, and he should be able to get that. But of course, the longer you are out here in lane, it is a little bit scary if you are getting ganked, you know, and someone is level 6 with like a real item, and you are still just on Doran's bow.
Well, we can see C9 paying very close attention to the first Drake spawn here in this one. Last game we talked about how Chem Drake generally deprioritizes that first objective because it doesn't give you a whole lot, whereas Ocean Drake's the opposite. Really feels good to have that in laning phase for the extra regeneration capabilities. And
especially in top.
Yeah. And that's like having to deal with Srtty, having to deal with this situation where the Vayne's just constantly pummeling you. The nice part is laning against the Vayne, at least, like obviously this character is super oppressive, very difficult to interact with for short range melee style champions. But one of the weaknesses, one of the trade-offs she pays for that, 0 wave clear in the kit, right? So is a bit more difficult for Srtty to get those shoves and have the recalls on exactly the timings you want.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And Thanatos going to go back, going to get steel caps, and he's heading bot. So they're trying to swap out once Srtty bases and actually takes his buy. They know it's going to be even harder there for Thanatos, so they send their bot lane top, and Vulcan and Tactical are going to be here. And like you said, Vayne has very poor wave clear, so when you are in these 1v2 situations, yeah, sure, you can stay alive, whatever, but you're not going to be pushing in, and you're going to be struggling to actually defend the tower and keep that healthy because you do not have a great wave clear. So even with Lyonz up here, you can see Tactical and Vulcan already landing some good chip and just keeping this push in. They got the first plate pretty much instantly, and they're going to look to continue to get some more damage down on this tower.
Yep, and Srtty and Lyonz will just be laning against him 2v2 style. It's like the Vayne has been picked as the bottom laner now since Ziggs has the incredible wave clear that he does. They're fine just leaving Sajed down there against Thanatos on the Renekton. And if you're Thanatos, this is great. Even though you have the armor boots and Ziggs is going to do AP damage, I still feel like laning against the Ziggs should be far less oppressive than Vayne in your face every time you walk forward.
It absolutely is. I mean, especially because he was able to kind of live through this early stage. You know, he TP'd back quick, and then he never had to actually lane against Vayne post-buy. So his TP's almost back, right? And yeah, eventually, in theory, Sajed could whittle you down, but you're going to be able to clear out the waves very easily, and even if you eventually get low, then you ult, you clear the wave again, you TP back. You know, it's not going to be a big issue there for the Renekton. So we'll see if DSG does try to swap up the lanes again. As Lyonz is head back to base, he had to heal back up, and C9 will maintain the push here on this top side. And we're just kind of waiting to see where that first play will be made. Yeah. Both teams kind of have somewhat similar comps in a lot of ways. You know, obviously, you have a playmaking support who's going to be able to move around the map. You have 2 mid laners with the Realm Warp as well as the Weaver's Wall who can be able to move around the map, and they are going to be looking for those big fights.
Ooh, Lyonz with a nice 2-man taunt coming in. Vulcan's your first target. Magical Journey through the wall, getting away for now. Srtty trying to hunt him down, but it's first blood over to Srtty's Vayne. Make it a double as he's getting paid here for this top side 3v3. It's DSG coming out on top. Tactical and Vulcan down, and Srtty's Vayne is off to a beautiful start.
And that was a really good start to the fight there from Lyonz, who we were just being a little bit critical of, saying, you know, that he was one of the ones who had been struggling. Blaber is back here, though, but Vayne has the move.
Yeah, Blaber, though, just walking up, stealing that grub away in a contest of no smite versus no smite between the junglers. It is Blaber who lands it, and so he's going to manage to secure all 3 grubs here as KryRa has to retreat.
Yeah, that is actually really, really big. So again, started off well by Lyonz. He was spotted, but they just kind of walked up, bold as you like. They did not realize that KryRa was right behind him. Double taunt comes in. Blaber's coming over the wall. So I think C9 thinks, we're baiting him, but Srtty just flashes away. Even though he does get tagged by the end of the eStall's impact, he created enough space from the wall that Blaber could never actually stun him into the wall, and then the final hour tumble to the side avoids the impale. Srtty played that fight very, very well. It was started out really well here also by Lyonz, and yeah, C9 thought they had the jump, but both teams had their junglers, and if you cannot get in onto that Vayne and take him down pretty early, final hour, lethal tempo stacked up, this guy's going to be pumping.
Yeah, and these champions like Blaber and Thanatos that build bruiser-style items. Skarner just wants to stack health forever and ever. Hold on now, Thanatos in even more danger. KryRa shows up yet again. Thanatos getting away from the last darkened dagger, forced to use that ultimate to stay alive through the silver bolts of Srtty. But yeah, Srtty's two big targets he's going to be hitting are mostly health, bruiser, meatball-style champions.
Yep.
Vayne chews through these so easy.
Yeah, he absolutely does. I mean, it is a nightmare to itemize against Vayne as any sort of champion that's supposed to be tanky, because there's nothing that feels good. You build health, well, % true damage. You build armor, well, true damage ignores that too. So it is very, very difficult to deal with the Vayne in these situations. And even though Thanatos lives, he loses his flash and his ult, which are really the only tools he has to try to do something in this matchup. You know, I talked about the vulnerability that Vayne has if a jungler shows up, but without flash, that is tough. And remember, the LCS Championship is headed to Gas South Arena in the greater Atlanta area. October 3rd and 4th, tickets are now on sale. Get your tickets. You're going to see who's going to be going to Worlds, and Worlds is also in today, so you should probably get your tickets for that as well.
Do love it when Worlds is in North America. 3 out of 4 years, I got to watch Worlds at ass-o'clock in the morning, but not this year.
Not this year.
This is the 1 out of 4.
This is
going to be on at normal hours. Except if you don't live in North America, then it's going to be on in the middle of the night. But you know what? It's Worlds. It's worth it. Turn that schedule upside down. Send your boss a message. Uh-oh, you just got sick. We'll deal with that a month from now.
Exactly. And nice for you, because you have a soy allergy, and it's harder when you're traveling to find food you can eat.
True. We are going to hit up the good old American fast food chains. That will be the play. As Disguised is up 1,000 gold. The second Drake of the game is alive. C9 controlled both neutrals so far with that early Drake take into the Grubs after they lost the fight in the top side. So now they want to continue stacking those neutrals, as Srtty has completed his experimental Hex, played very strong here in the Vayne, but again, no TP to try to join the fight, as the Chemtech is secured by the C9 side, but now Blaber's going to pay the price. Callme takes the kill on that one, so objective traded for a single death, as DSG kills the enemy jungler after he secures the dragon.
Yeah, I think C9 will be pretty happy with that at the end of the day, unless DSG are able to push in and get something else with this, but it doesn't really look like that's going to happen. Maybe you get a plate mid, but 1 kill for that dragon, going to be feeling nice, and Cloud Dragon always really powerful, especially when you do have champions along the lines of Renekton, where it's like, this champion loves Cloud Soul, but flat move speed in general is just incredibly powerful across the board.
And now I really just want to see from Disguise specifically, because we talked about in game number 1 a lot of, yeah, they can get leads in individual games. In the game 1s of the previous 2 weeks, they did that, but then they can't convert it. And you mentioned how, yeah, it's a young roster. They're more inexperienced. It's harder to know what to do with the leads once you have them than it is to just get them in the first place through simply having the hands. So I really want to see, since so much of the power of DSG right now is in this Vayne that's in the side lane, who does not have a teleport, DSG's going to have to pick their fights correctly.
The Chihuahua is fed, and now we have to see what the Chihuahua can do.
Okay, well, it's still a Chihuahua for now. It might have got a whole bowl full of kibbles.
But it's a Chihuahua with an experimental hex plate, and that sounds terrifying.
Okay, experimental hex plate for the Chihuahua, trying to bark at the dog that's 2 ladder rings above him.
Yeah. Significantly bigger dog.
Yes.
But that Chihuahua is going to be fast.
The Chihuahua is ready. But again, they have to be able to play around Srtty. They have to be able to play around this Vayne that is fed and does not have a teleport. That means it's everyone on the team's responsibility to recognize this point of power and only make moves that are going to allow them to leverage it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's always difficult, you know, because Vayne, you are relatively short range. Yes, you obviously have final hour. You're going in Viz. You have these abilities to outplay. As Blaber, maybe going to find an angle here on Callme. But the problem is, if you get flash room prisoned by Loki, or you get hit by a Cosmic Binding or anything like that, or a Flash Ruthless Predator stun, the follow-up CC will be there from C9, almost guaranteed, and you're probably going to die 100-0 without moving, right? Because eShell's Impact, Impale, all of this CC will be layered. So Vayne really is going to be depending upon her ability to avoid that initial CC, to try to outplay in these little skirmishes. Because once those cooldowns are used, once that CC is used from C9, then Vayne can go crazy. But until that moment, you have to be pretty careful.
Honestly, I would love to see Mikhail's from Lyonz or a QSS from Srtty for like item 3 or something. But I know obviously you don't want to rush QSS too soon because it's going to interrupt the core build path too significantly. But the experimental hex plate is already there. You can see the cloak working towards that second completed item as Thanatos, he has done a very good job of staying caught up in terms of farm. It's only like one wave separating the two of them, but he's still having just as much fun as he was earlier, which is none at all.
Yep, I mean, you're basically, in this matchup, all you are doing is trying to one-shot the wave, right? You're kind of turret hugging, and then when the wave comes up, you go in, slice and dice, and you try to just kill that wave as fast as humanly possible so you do not interact with that Vayne. And he's done a good job, and C9 have also done a good job, with how they were moving around the map and kind of circumventing some of the difficult parts of the matchup. So he has stayed very, very relevant as far as the farm is concerned. He's only down 2 CS, but of course Srtty has gotten plates, and Srtty did get those 2 kills. So Srtty is still up 1,000 gold.
Well, this is the point of the previous game where everything exploded for DSG. It all came down to the Herald fight. C9, they take the Herald, they take the fight. They even use the Herald right after to chase underneath the enemy turrets, secure an additional kill. The game wasn't really playable for DSG after the Herald in game number 1. So now in game number 2, it's DSG with the nearly 2,000 gold lead. Remember, it was C9 with about 1.3, 1.4 lead before the Herald in the previous game. As now bottom side, it's a DSG play going in after Thanatos. KryRa uses the call to pack to drop any turbot aggro. They got Lyonz there with a stand united. They set it up easy peasy for Srtty to get kill number 3. And they know that C9 is going to go after that Rift Herald. They're saying, fine, take it, whatever. We're going to kill your top laner and get the turret bottom.
Exactly. I mean, the Rift Herald is the potential of killing a tower or getting plates. Killing someone and getting plates is killing someone and getting plates, right? That is the gold right there. And there's no way that Thanatos can outplay in that situation because he just gets the dog delivery system into a taunt, into that condemn in the wall, and he's just dead.
I'm going to say the most white guy from the Midwest thing that I can right now, which is there's an old Family Guy episode that has a joke in it where Peter Griffin picks a mystery box over like a boat. And his friends are like, Peter, why did you pick the mystery box over the boat? He's like, mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat. And that's kind of what you get from the Herald versus the tower.
What I always think about with Family Guy is that when Peter falls and hurts his knee, and he's, for about 5 minutes straight. That killed me.
That's how Thanatos feels after the 3-man gang. But now we're back to another neutral objective. It is C9 wanting to continue their Drake stack. They might be behind 2,500 gold, but if they can hit Soul Point, they'll be feeling pretty good about that. Now, DSG has firepower nearby, but critically, it's not Srtty. The 3-kill Vayne is up in the top side of the map, and Thanatos is going to TP down here to the bottom river. So C9 should have man advantage as Sajed has to use his flash to get away and stay safe. Lyonz also absorbing a little bit of pressure right now as DSG maintaining their position, and Srtty has made his way over. Now that it's a 5v5, now that C9 can't get anything with a numbers advantage, they know they don't want a fair fight, they back away.
Yeah, C9 were looking to pick a fight with the little brother, but then the big brother came down from top lane. Hey, never mind, we don't want that smoke. I'm sorry. Just a prank, bro.
Just gonna leave, it's like, all good, okay. See you guys next time.
Yeah, so Srtty shows up. They do trade the TPs. Of course, it is the longer TP there for Srtty because, he is just using that realm, the role quest TP. He does not actually have that summoner selected. And Loki goes up towards top, is going to be able to push out this wave, but Srtty will catch most of it and pretty much has his Essence Reaver ready to go. And then you are going to be able to just keep these fights going, keep that side lane push going pretty much forever. And remember, tomorrow, we got Dardoch versus Armeo here. Dardoch making his return to the LCS. Yes, Dardoch versus Armeo. Armeo, of course, substituting for Inspired, who is away for a couple weeks. He said he was going to be away 2 to 3 weeks. This is 3rd week. And they have been doing really well with Armeo, which was kind of a surprise to me. And then Dardoch, of course, I think a lot of people would be shocked to hear that he is back, but he has been killing it in the NACL. And as Jat did in this whole long presentation, he had quotes from all kinds of different players that Dardoch has been playing with in Tier 2 who have a lot of really positive things to say about him and his attitude. So it's going to be a new opportunity to kind of redefine himself for Dardoch in the LCS.
Yeah. In case you missed it, if you weren't around for Waiting Room, Jat directed a dedicated Dardoch dissertation and had a pretty long explanation of kind of his history in the league, as well as all of those impressions, those good impressions that he's made
his
on
PhD?
Current Tier 2. Yeah, he's I don't know what does the PH stand for?
What?
What does the PH stand for in PhD?
I don't know.
He's got his philosophical Dardoctorate, and that means that he's
Dardoch.
Yeah, he's the Dardoch, but Dardoch coming back, it should be an interesting time. I think, honestly, if you're Dignitas, you're probably pretty excited that he's coming back and it's still Armeo that you're jungling against instead of Inspired for the first week. But that's all tomorrow. Right now, we still got the rest of this one to play as Blaber goes in and finds the Impale on the Lyonz, who has to taunt and then flash over the wall trying to get himself away. Meanwhile, Vulcan, nice use of the ulti there to lock up Sajed, who's going to be protected by that Stand United, but it will not protect enough. The shutdown credit goes to Tactical. Callme tries to find something on the backside of the fight here from the right angle as Blaber is low, but Srtty has finally joined the fight. Goes into the final hour, but he's trapped in Rune Prison. Srtty down to 20% HP. DSG's got to be careful. Thanatos here with a re-engage. Shutdown on Callme. It happens again and 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 again. No matter how many leads DSG builds, when it comes time to clutch the fight, they can't find what they need.
Yeah, C9 started out that fight well. They take down Sajed, and he got no value really with the Mega Inferno Bomb. Just kind of dropped it on his head in celebration there at the end. It all started out with Blaber finding the Impale here onto the Shen. He gets pulled in. Yeah, he flashes out, but he is completely out of the fight. And at the same time, Sajed gets tagged there. And even with the Stand United, he's got no way out of that. Didn't have his flash available. Just kind of walked up, bold as you like, and Vulcan caught him. And that is such a difference maker. And then look at Srtty going in. Yeah, great. You have all this ability to outplay until you get hit by the Rune Prison, and he loses all of his health. About 80% of his health is gone during that Rune Prison, instantly pushed back. So as strong as Srtty is, there's not really any opportunity for him to do anything in that fight because there's no one to create space because Lyonz was out of it instantly. Sajed was already dead before he arrived, so there's not really any ability for him to outplay.
And now there's your Cosmic Binding into the wall. Srtty pops final hour defensively, but Blaber is still on the hunt. The Impale lands. Vulcan gets the kill. Srtty is dead. Tempered Fate locks up KryRa, and they want to make it a 2-0, but KryRa with the flash stays alive. That disguised gold lead, 2.5, 3,000 gold lead that we saw just a couple of minutes ago is gone. As the Tier 1 turret falls, DSG's lead shrinks down to 500. And for this team that is consistently finding leads, but consistently being unable to convert them, that specter of the promotion tournament is always rapping at the door. No matter what, no matter where they place, because of their promotional status, they must play against the top squad coming up from Tier 2. And you've got to be able to start converting these wins. If nothing else, even if you're still not winning series, you've got to convert and win games to build that faith and confidence that'll keep you in the league.
Yeah, I think confidence is really going to be a big thing here because if you're just kind of getting beat down all split long, it is really hard to then go into a series like that. That being said, there are levels to this, right? You know, you are losing with a lead to Lion or to C9. That is very different than losing to a Tier 2 team with a lead. And they've at least shown that they have the ability, the individual skill to create these advantages, which I feel like should give them a reasonable amount of confidence that they can actually close out some of these games. But the Dragon here, C9 trying to move to Soul Point. DSG want to stop him.
All right, C9, let's see if they can maintain the area, maintain the perimeter long enough to secure this one without a contest. Yes, they can. DSG still thinking about stepping up. Gold might as well be dead even right now, as no fight will occur. C9 are just going to exfiltrate this one, and now we are once again back to a point of permanent pressure here for DSG, as every Dragon afterwards is going to demand an answer. Realm Warp is used. It's a PvE Realm Warp! It's a PvE Realm Warp. That's what we said we wanted to see. Use it to get back to lane. Use it to go to the Baron. Use it to reposition your minions. Just make sure that Realm Warp is targeted towards something that the game controls. And right now, C9 controls the Baron. They're going to get this one for free. And oh man, we got to spend the first almost 20 minutes of gameplay talking about how it was looking better for Disguised, but we are right back to a spot where C9 controls the Rift.
Yeah, we absolutely are. I mean, the gold is still dead even, but it is C9 on Soul Point. It is C9 with 3 Grubs and Baron, so they will have push. And now pressure is on Srtty. I mean, he has been in a good spot for a long time, but I mean, I don't even really think it's his fault. He just hasn't really been able to do anything in these fights because the fights have kind of been over by the time he showed up, right? You know, that mid lane fight, Lyonz is already out of it, Sajed is dead by the time he shows up. That dragon fight, they're just completely chunked out before he even arrives.
I mean, that's what I was saying earlier, though. This is kind of the test that you were giving them back in game number 1 is, yeah, you can get leads, but the inexperience, the lack of coordination puts them in a spot where it's hard to turn those leads into wins. And I said, I've got to see how they play around Srtty. This is your point of pressure. It's everyone's responsibility to play through the point of strength, and Disguised have not successfully done it.
I mean, look how much damage Tactical has gotten done. He has been the difference maker. He's landing so much poke before a lot of these fights, and you know, even Srtty beating on that Renekton all lane long is not close to the amount of damage that Tactical has done on this Ezreal. They're going to go for him, though.
Yeah, they want to try to dive in here with KryRa. Hound's Pursuit, yeah, he casts it, but Tactical's still at 75% HP, even through that ulti from the Nafiri, and now that's a massive tool for the team fights that KryRa doesn't have available. Red Bull Baron power play still active for another minute and a half for C9. They know there's no Nafiri ulti, so they're just going to keep the pressure mounting. Tactical is left over in the mid lane to make sure that they're putting that pressure on at least 2 separate points, while everyone else groups top around the tier 2. Blaber going to take a ton of damage here, though. Stunned back into the wall, tries to maybe turn it around. That looked a little silly, as he wanted to flash, maybe find an Ishtal's impact angle, but he will not get it. Loki takes the Realm Warp, gets himself away. DSG aren't going to get any more up here. Meanwhile, C9 trade it for the tier 1 turret in the bottom lane as Thanatos has pushed up and claimed that one. Tactical still pushing back over in mid with Vulcan beside him. KryRa jumps forward yet again, but remember, the Hound's Pursuit is on cooldown from earlier, so no chance to really chase after Vulcan or Tactical.
Yeah, good pick there on Blaber. I'm not really sure what he was thinking with the flash, and he goes for the flash, Ishtal's impact. Maybe he was trying to catch someone, but Sajed is going to be the one caught.
Yeah, do they have any follow-up to do something meaningful?
Yep.
Yeah, they sure do. Tactical just jumps in and blows Sajed away as now Tactical, ooh, nice. He was trying to use his teleport for the fast exit, but Srtty just pushes him with the Condemn, cancels the channel on the Summoner spell. KryRa jumps in and grabs an additional kill here, this time on a Vulcan, as Thanatos has to slice over the wall trying to stay alive. Flash away as the Condemn bolt is in the air, means he clears the terrain first as the Condemn chases him and then further creates distance between Thanatos and his pursuers. So he will live, but nice moves from Disguise, getting something back, halting the C9 onslaught even after Sajed dies.
Yeah, Sajed, you know, on the Ziggs, it's normally considered a very safe champion, but he has been struggling a bit and didn't think he could get dove. But even through the Stand United, he is just taken out, and then Tactical looks for that TP exit, but does get hit by the Condemn. I thought for a moment there, though, that it might actually be an angle out as he shifted over the wall. But at the end of the day, DSG do get a couple kills and get the flash off Renekton.
It looks troll.
Oh, thank you.
Looks troll, but not the worst result.
Yeah.
We got Vayne flash.
Yeah, it's fine.
It looks troll. Oh. Okay, it looks troll, but it's not the worst.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, you did get Vayne flash, you did get 1 kill for 2, so I think it's not the worst, but they did lose the flash, obviously, off of Thanatos as well, and so there is definitely a cost to it. But you could hear, I think that was probably Loki's voice with the, yeah, sounded very unconvinced by,
like, I don't know,
by the not the worst result.
That kind of wasn't great, man. All right, so although the gold is now even, this brings even more spotlight onto the objective state of the game. C9 have been running the show with the Herald, with the Grubs. 3 out of 4 Drakes secured so far, and it's 20 seconds until the Soul spawns. You already mentioned how Thanatos loves that on the Renekton. It's so powerful for so many of their champions. Move speed only becomes that much more effective when your champion is limited in mobility in their kit. So for somebody like Ryze who just runs at you, that's always going to feel really good. DSG on the approach now as C9 are staying grouped up as a unit. Loki gets taunt flash. That might be Disguised opportunity. Loki with the flash back into the Dragon Pit, staying alive for now, but Blaber is already dead. Loki's about to follow. Tactical goes over the wall, but KryRa's ready to follow him. 3 kills, DSG. Thanatos in the middle of everybody. But what the hell is one crocodile gonna do? It's DSG clutching up when they need to and slamming the Dragon Soul fight.
And finally, DSG are able to be on the front foot. They're creating the chaos. They are the ones pushing forward here and making space as they go in. And look at this here from Srtty. You know, comes in on the side, pumping damage into Blaber. Taunt flash comes out from Lyonz. They're on to Loki, even with the double ult from Vulcan onto the backline. It just didn't matter because Srtty was completely untouched. They created so much chaos. He was able to find that time to free hit Lyonz making space, Nafiri flying into the backline, making space, and you can see I Will Dominate not too happy about how that fight went. And look at that Chihuahua. He's looking angry.
He is downright feral in that one, DSG. And this is what it looks like when you play around that point of power. When you start the fight off with Vayne ready to pop off, Srtty hitting 6,817 damage in the previous fight. The highest damage on the enemy team, just ever so slightly over half of that from Thanatos on the Renekton. So now Sajed has to sidestep the Tempered Fate, stays alive for the moment, does not get caught by the Cosmic Binding, creates enough time to allow DSG reinforcements to arrive. Stand united, coming in from Lyonz, as now Loki's gonna be your target once more. Srtty on the chase down, grabbing kill number 1, make it number 2, both solo laners out of the way. And here we go, 50-second death timers as DSG set their sights on the Baron.
Yeah, that's Baron o'clock, and credit to Sajed. Held his nerve there, didn't even flash. Sidestepped 2 abilities that would have meant his death for sure, and they were near sidesteps in those moments, and now Callme and Lyonz just gonna create that space. They just need to keep Blaber away from that Baron, and it is theirs.
All right, Baron, should be no way for C9 in here. Baron secured by DSG, 6,000 gold lead for DSG. They had a solid early game. They fumbled the mid game, but they've clawed their way back, fighting around Srtty, fighting around this Vayne.
Now, I'm actually shocked he didn't flash here. Just barely got out. That is crazy. And then the sidestep on the binding as well. If either of those hit him, he is just dead, but he holds his nerve, holds onto the flash, and then Srtty just gets the early stand united, gives him the confidence to fly in, they full send it, and that ult from Sajed got so much work done onto the C9 solo laners.
Just finish this and then we can say we win.
Well, they're pretty close to saying they win right now, as DSG have 2 minutes and a little bit of change, a little bit of extra couple of seconds there to push with this Baron. They don't have to worry about the Dragon until that one expires. And honestly, the timers line up so well. The Baron is going to expire just 5-10 seconds before the Dragon spawns. So DSG should have total control over the Rift leading up to that, meaning once again, it'll be difficult for C9 to try to approach. But before we even get there, it's DSG trying to mop up some of this freestanding gold. They take out the tier 2 turret here in the bottom lane, bring that lead up to almost 7,000 as they continue applying the pressure down here with Callme split pushing in mid since he has Weaver's Wall to join if a fight breaks out bottom.
And C9 just gonna have to try to find some sort of a big play here. And I thought that they had gotten this game in their control, and I was honestly thinking that we were gonna see the first win for Loki on Ryze, but he is 0-8, and DSG are pushing into the base here, looking to seal the deal. They have massive leads really on all of the top side here. Callme, KryRa, Srtty, all in very good positions. But we do know there is still no QSS, there is still no cleanse, so if you can get on Srtty and just one-shot him to start the fight, there is a chance for C9.
All right, DSG. Let's see, can you close it out? Can they do what has not been done so far here in the first couple of weeks of Summer Split and get their first game win up against a team like C9 as well, one of the teams that everybody's predicting to be in contest for those world slots, for potentially being one of the teams that could win Summer Split. For DSG to get their first win against them would be pretty legit. You know that would feel good for these guys.
It would feel really, really good. And on the other side, obviously, it's going to feel pretty bad for Cloud9, who, had a loss against Dignitas. They did lose that one game, not the series. But if you lose a game against both DSG and Dignitas, that's supposed to be the Chihuahua tier. That's supposed to be the easiest matchups that you will have. So if you are having some close games, some close series against those teams, it is a little concerning for that C9 side and maybe making some people rethink where they kind of have them placed in that tier list and just how strong they are right now. Of course, DSG looking like they are in a great spot to take this, but if C9 wins one fight, if they get Soul, then that lead is completely erased.
Well, it's a lot harder to do, though, when you look at the inventories of DSG. The Guardian Angel completed as the 4th big item here for KryRa. Meanwhile, Sajed, double burn items, plus Void, plus Rabadon. Ziggs' sweet spot on the ulti just blasts away half of anybody's health guaranteed, as the Drake is secured by KryRa here. DSG were not able to force down any inhibitors with their Baron. However, they did take the tier 3 turret in mid. They did have control over the map that earned them that Drake. So now we have reached the point where the next Drake must be Soul. But honestly, really impressive by DSG to make sure that C9 was never able to convert up until now. But again, we must see them close. They have been in this position before.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they had I think it was close to a 6,000 gold lead in their week 1, game 1. So they have been in a spot like this before, and they have damage in spades, as you are pointing out, but there are no, you know, Zonias on Callme or Sajed. There's no GA on Srtty, so there is still a chance for C9 if they can find that perfect play, if they can find that perfect engage that they will be looking for here. And Tactical still trying to play very aggressive because there's very little CC on the DSG side. It is just taunt and condemn. That's basically it. And Blaber looking for a pick.
Yeah, Blaber has the pull here onto Sajed with a true shot barrage flying through. Sajed gets over the wall, but he is shut down by the Skarner. Blaber ends up taking the kill credit. Thanatos in the middle of everybody, eating a lot of damage from Srtty's auto attacks. He goes into resurrection here from the Guardian Angel as Tempered Fate does not find a target. Thanatos coming back to life, and C9's making sure to keep him protected. Now Lyonz and KryRa both getting away off to the left. So DSG, they do lose a man, but they do not suffer an entire team wipe. Nice look there from C9, but there's nothing that they get to take as a reward.
Yeah, trade of some summoners as well as the GA off Thanatos. Thanatos did send it with the flash stun onto Srtty after that initial kill, but no one else was really able to get in range to follow up and put that big pressure onto Srtty. So Srtty just throws his exhaust onto the Renekton, gets a stand united, and that was enough to keep him safe in that moment. But this is the danger. Yes, Sajed is very, very strong, but Blaber with a really nice play. Caught him with a sweeper over the wall and then sees him, and on that shadow, catches him with the impale. That is very nicely done there by Blaber, and then it's into the binding, into the Ezreal ult.
Look here, look here, look here. I hit Ziggs, I hit Ziggs, I hit Ziggs.
I'm coming.
Shenui. Yeah, Ziggs dead, Ziggs dead. Slowly, guys.
Carry Vayne.
I can't finish. Look, look.
Yeah,
I have J.
Kite.
Guys, begin with. Guys, wait, watch me.
Yeah, watch you.
I run away. Okay.
Yeah,
Can we try to play for 1 HP? We can't run Taliyah like this. So.
I do believe it was the bleed, the Quake stacks from Skarner that actually finish him off at the very end there. So nicely done from C9. Well detected from Blaber like you're talking about. Baron is back on the rip. 36 minutes into the game. DSG still with a 5,000 gold lead as they'll still also have the Guardian Angel on their jungler. 1/3 of the cooldown has passed on Thanatos' GA for the C9 side. Seraph's Embrace available for Loki on the Ryze.
There is IE done now for this Vayne. Very rare to see that in pro play, but he has it completed. He is going to pump if he can get access to some of these squishy targets.
And he goes in, dives after Vulcan and Blaber, who get away with the magical journey. So no final hour available for Srtty, but Tactical, Blaber, and Vulcan all chunked by about half HP. So C9 has to back away, yield control over the topside river to DSG, but there's no Weaver's Wall, there's no final hour on the DSG side. If they try to force a Baron fight, they will not have those tools for the big showdown. As Thanatos does have to be careful yet again, trying to get away from KryRa and Callme. Thanatos in some serious danger, but the kill onto Lyonz the other way means a 1-for-1. Now Blaber gets pushed back by the seismic shove. Callme and KryRa got to be a little bit careful here. They are on the other side of C9 as Sajed tries to step forward, throw out a couple of mines. Mega Inferno Bomb does get Vulcan incredibly low on HP. Tactical trying to survive and fight back against KryRa. It does knock off his Guardian Angel while Loki kills Callme. Now they're going to camp the body of KryRa. They need a little bit more damage to take him down, and Blaber can't quite find it. KryRa getting away for now. It's 3 dead on the DSG side as Sajed and Callme, both mages, are now out of the picture. C9 has everybody except for Thanatos. A TP coming in now as they are ready to reposition their Ezreal back into this scrap. KryRa's still hanging around. Blaber and Loki at low HP. KryRa may not be respecting the fact that Tactical can be here, and Tactical looking after him now, but the TP's ready to come in as Lyonz joins KryRa here with a stand united. Srtty has also showed up. Tactical trying to get himself away now as Blaber and Loki secure the Baron. True Shot Barrage fired off. Will not hit a target. What an extended scuffle there.
Yeah, and Loki did such a good job in that fight. Was able to get a lot of work done as KryRa got into the backline. Him and Callme were kind of this 2-man hit squad, but it's so problematic they don't have final hour because Vayne can never really enter the fight. So you have on the bottom side of your screen KryRa and Callme chasing down, killing off Thanatos at the same time. Lyonz gets taken out, but look at Srtty. He's down about 30% HP. Srtty can never really enter. So Sajed walks up. you can see KryRa decides he's going to go in and full send it onto this backline. We're going back to live.
Okay. Blaber does get shoved here. Nice moves from Callme and the rest of DSG. They've already found the kill onto the C9 jungler, but now
Srtty
Vulcan is just being peppered with bolts by Srtty. He goes forward looking for a little bit more. The shutdown on Srtty comes in from Tactical as Thanatos and Tactical are trying to fight back. DSG scrambling. The Dragon still at full HP. Health bars melting, but they're mostly C9. It's only Tactical and Thanatos left alive. Srtty the only death on DSG, but considering everyone else is so low, DSG did have to peel back, play it a little safe, but it looks like KryRa and Sajed should be able to take the Drake.
Yeah, they should be able to. I don't know why KryRa's not hitting this, though. He's just, oh, he has no smite. He's waiting for smite. He used his smite in the fight, so he's trying to actually delay to make sure he can secure it, that doesn't get stolen over the wall here. And that is exactly what Tactical is going to try to do. He has the True Shot Barrage. The smite is now up, though, and it is secured, so that's soul for DSG. Srtty got taken down, though, and this IE not really working out for him. All it is taking is one CC, and he just dies. He looked like he was in a position where I was honestly thinking, is this like a penta angle? He got 2 early kills, and then he gets hit by the Rune Prison, and Loki and Tactical just murder him. He gets deleted, and you have to wonder, okay, there's the QSS now coming through. You know, if that had just been a Merc instead of the IE, you know, is it a very different game? Obviously, Infinity Edge, you're going to get a lot more damage, but at the same time, all of C9's eyes are on the Vayne. And if you can just get one shot and one CC, it is very difficult to play. So now that problem is solved, but he has no flash, and there's flash on Renekton, there's flash on the Skarner as well, and they're going to be having their eyes on him, and there's also a flash on Loki.
Ooh, Sajed staying alive there, the Tempered Fate looking for him.
Cloud Soul move speed.
The Ziggs yet again, yeah, and that Cloud Soul move speed, I mean, we talked about how, oh, Renekton loves getting this. Vayne with Cloud Soul is a war crime in multiple countries across the globe. That character is just inescapable. Yep. Final hour plus Cloud Soul. So Srtty has the opportunity to do so much work here. A perfectly played team fight from Srtty, I don't think Cloud9 has anything they can say about it.
Yep. I will say, though, sometimes Cloud Soul gets the better of people, and it turns into a little drunk driving, and they get a little bit too far forward.
I could go faster.
Exactly. And still, as fast as you are, if you get hit by the CC, you can still die. He has the QSS to help keep him safe, which is going to be massive. But that being said, there are multiple forms of CC. If you get hit by the Renekton stun and then you immediately cleanse that into Ishtal's impact, into Impale, anything like that, you will still die ridiculously fast.
All right, DSG. 3,000 gold lead. Dragon Soul in pocket. C9 coming around, seeing if there's an angle to make a move here. As you're going to have Sajed TPing in to join up with the rest of the DSG squad. Srtty level 20 on the Vayne. 5,000 individual gold lead, and the tier 2 turret falls top.
I mean, level 20 is a lot, but it's crazier to me to see Vulcan level 17.
Yeah,
supports almost maxed out on levels is wild. That is not something that you see very often. Of course, you're not really scaling incredibly well with levels as Bard, but you're going to be a lot tankier than you would otherwise suspect. And he is going to be looking to make those plays. We can see that the Knight's Vow has been picked up here by Lyonz, and you have to assume that it is going to be on Srtty, and it is in fact on Srtty.
Okay.
He is the one to protect. He is the one to play around.
All right, that's the plan for DSG. You must enable the Vayne. You must revolve around the Vayne. Vayne is the sun. You are but planets in Vayne's galaxy. Make sure the sun shines bright, and you'll find yourself your first game win of Summer Split. 1.5 minutes until Baron spawns. 3 minutes until the Elder Dragon shows up. It's going to be one of those types of games. Azael, we were talking in game number 1 about how crazy it is that it ended in 23 minutes, that it ended as quickly as it did. But now here in game number 2, it's just about 43 minutes on the clock, and we are not done yet.
And the other thing to remember is Srtty, you know, he's not playing Legend Bloodline. He is playing Legend of Alacrity, so he has very little lifesteal. He does have a pop right now, so he does have that Elixir of Wrath, which is, you know, going to give him, you know, some lifesteal there. But Srtty, if he gets tagged by any poke, it is actually really problematic because it's not like he's sitting on a BT. It's not like he has really anything as far as that sustain is concerned. So as powerful as he is, every Mystic shot matters. You have got to be dodging. And Tactical is on a true 7 items. Again, a bit of a rarity here, but this game has gone on for a long time.
Yeah.
Sajed still with some room to grow. I mean, Srtty's up 4.8k, but Tactical's up 5k. And he is ridiculously strong at this point in the game. Thanatos has his GA ready, their Zhonya's ready, so there's a lot of tools here. This next fight is going to be so explosive.
I always laugh so much at Shojin Endless Hunger Ezreal. Hold on now, Blaber gets hit with a shove yet again. KryRa diving in after Tactical, has to shift out of the way of the Mega Inferno Bomb as Blaber barely survives with 200 HP left. Now Lyonz could be soaking some damage as Loki's nearly killed off by Srtty. One more bolt in the air, finds him, Srtty's got the kill. Tactical goes over the wall and stays alive for now as KryRa wants to chase, but he won't quite be able to finish the job. Thanatos and Vulcan trying to scatter and get themselves away as DSG looks for even more. Srtty might be dead, but he's traded for Loki. Can't believe that is only a 1-for-1 after everything settles. Vulcan's still trying to get away. He's got the dead man's plate. Lyonz wants to stop him, gets the taunt. Vulcan immediately ready with the self-Mikhails, just walks away from it. All right, not enough of a convincing result one way or the other for either side to head to Baron, and everybody goes back to their corners.
I low-key wonder if Srtty's QSS was on the wrong keybind, because his QSS was very late. And it came in very late there, and he just dies. And Tactical with some heroics takes him out with that final Q here and survive with all his lifesteal. Tactical is just playing insane.
Well, now he's got to do it again. Thanatos nearly killed off here with the Baron Pit, is hit with the satchel, forced into the resurrection here with Guardian Angel. No real value here out of the Cosmic Binding just yet. Lyonz in the middle of everybody. Mega Inferno Bomb over the top, and Sajed's got the first kill. KryRa nearly falls. He at least loses Guardian Angel. But now C9's backing away again. Blaber gonna get shot down again. DSG are doing it. The front line of C9 is gone, and the Baron belongs to Disguise. They're gonna take their reset and head straight to the Elder.
Exactly. The Baron is not the problem. The Elder is the issue here with so much damage this late in the game. That is gonna be very, very tough, and Tactical is getting about as much done as you could possibly ask. Proxed GA, he's kiting out. He is playing like a madman in these fights, but Blaber and Thanatos do fall down. It's a 5v3, and C9, I feel like they just got to try to back it up and delay as much as they possibly can. Hope that you can live through this double super buff. Maybe somehow, some way, go for the wave clear, but they do not have the best wave clear, and DSG has everything they need to finally go for their first game win.
This is looking good for Disguise, but it's got to be quick, it's got to be clean, it's got to be precise. You've got 2 minutes of having both super buffs active at the same time. You need to end the game now, as C9 has to dig in and prepare to defend. You can see Loki and Tactical making their recalls. Now's the time to buy elixirs. Now's the time to spend your money. It's all going to come down to, can DSG end it right here? First inhibitor going to fall right down there in bottom lane. Mid inhibitor's already exposed from earlier. Remember that. Mega Inferno Bomb flying out. It's dodged, but KryRa already gets the kill. That's the Fed Ezreal. Thanatos in the middle of everyone, trying to put the pressure on, but Sajed's still going to stay alive as Loki is executed by the Elder Dragon. Blaber gets flipped back again, and DSG, it might have took 3 weeks, but they are going to find their first game win against C9 and take us to game 3.
Nicely done by DSG. Getting across the finish line was not an easy game, was not smooth sailing. Felt like C9 had taken back control, but DSG showing up when it mattered most, and they get their first game win. Lounge, break it down.
We always get 3 games in these C9 series, but this was a story of Srtty and DSG here with the Vayne pick. I mean, a little bit disrespectful having Renekton with Vayne not being banned, but all hail the toast Vayne.
The toast. Oh yeah.